everyone? It is I, Shad Talks Graps, and we are back with our installment of Sunday Spotlight, the weekly show on Wrestling Republic where we talk about everything professional wrestling, AEW, WWE, NXT, TNA, the Indies, New Japan, everything. Everything. If it's pro wrestling, we speaking about it. We got some great topics today. This is going to be a very fun show. It has been a very eventful week of pro wrestling. By the time y'all watch this, All Out has happened. So that's exciting. We are filming this prior to it. So if we're speaking about topics prior to what may be the result of All Out, bear with us. That's just the nature of the recording game. But it's going to be a dope show. It's going to be super interesting because it is a slim cast today, but that doesn't matter because we're going to absolutely kill it because I'm a happy man this week, man. I've been, praying to the wrestling podcasting guys that, please allow me to work with arguably my favorite person. I'm sorry, Drizzy. I'm sorry, Clark. I like to, gas her up a lot because she deserves it. She is well deserved for it. And, my mom taught me to be very respectful to women. She's the first lady of Wrestling Republic, all right? The queen of Wrestling Republic, Megan. How are you?
Hi, Shad. You always know how to, like you said, butter me up. Like you know how to make a woman feel good. So I do appreciate that. Um, just I'm happy to be here. It's sad we miss Drizzy and we miss Clark this week. But right now you proven to be a better tag team partner. So we're gonna tackle this show together, just me and you. Happy all out day. We're filming this just before the show gets started. Um, and as I always say, blessed and highly favored.
Yes. Nah, and definitely we do miss Drizzy. We do miss Clark. Drizzy is
Yes,
being the best dad out there, man. My man's is
absolutely.
his little man's is wrecking havoc in the field right now playing football. So salute to them. And Clark is wrecking havoc on the golf course right now. Bro is taking a well deserved break from the podcast and stuff. He's teeing off. He's out in the Midwest, so in the South. That's dope for him. We excited for Clark.
Yes.
We miss him, but we excited to see him back once he gets his vacay time. Hopefully he wins, because then if he
Let's hope.
loses,
We're gonna rag him. We're gonna rag him every day next week.
For sure. All right, let's. So we spoke about it. Today is All Out Day, but we are gonna release this after All Out. But we got to talk about what may have been one of the most eventful things in professional wrestling this week, and that
Mhm.
was in AEW, and that has to do with Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. And yeah, this is I'm gonna kick it off first for us.
Yes.
Hangman and Swerve had one of the most eventful, chaotic moments in professional wrestling this entire year. We know the feud has been going for a year plus now. They had one of the best wrestling matches last year, and we're here for this main event match that is going to happen tonight. A main event match that doesn't have the AEW World Title tied to it. Swerve lost it to Danielson, and they're about to have a unsanctioned cage match at All Out in Chicago. But what Hangman Adam Page did this past Wednesday on Dynamite has to be spotlighted because he has been taking the hatred, the revenge tactic towards Swerve, who's been, you know, going a little crazy, going a little personal, beyond personal, breaking into the house, staring over the two most important people in Hangman's life, his wife, his child, and doing it for some sort of way to have a competitive advantage. At that point, he has made Hangman go deranged and crazy, and we saw Swerve have a monumental moment that a lot of people would love to do is purchasing the childhood home that he grew up in. He just re-signed a big contract with AEW. Salute to him. I love to see people make as much money as they can make, right? And Hangman Adam Page He said, "Hey man, don't ever put your location out there, buddy. Keep the location off, cause I'm gonna find it." He found it, and he burnt down Swerve's house. Oh my goodness! The image of Hangman just sitting on the couch with a whiskey in his hand and the house burning down is one of the most badass visuals I've seen in professional wrestling this entire year. Hangman, Adam Page, and Swerve. I've been on record yesterday when we did the prediction show. This has been the most eventful and like fun feud and my favorite feud in pro wrestling this entire year. Their dog collar match last year was my favorite match of the entire year. Like the element that these guys take for this feud is just incredible. And Ben asked, he's like, when is this gonna end? I don't know if this feud will ever end. I think these guys are just mere enemies from the beginning to the end of time. So we definitely got to spotlight Hangman and Swerve. What are your thoughts on it, Megan?
I think it's just like you said, like this is going to be a forever type of thing because each time each man gets one up on the other one is going to want revenge. And that's just going to be the ongoing thing. Um, I think I can't help but to just think about, what you said about how, he was so happy. He renewed his contract. He bought his old childhood home, a home that went into foreclosure. And he was just really proud of his accomplishments. And in a matter of minutes, Hangman burned it all down. He burned it down to the ground. He hit um Swerve where it hurts. He got him in the heart because it it seemed as though that was the only way Hangman could get to him. He kept telling him, "Hey, look, you came into my home, you watched me and my pregnant wife, you stood over my child, like you invaded my bubble, you invaded my sanctuary, my home. We don't even feel safe there anymore." And as I mentioned before, it just seemed as though Swerve either he wasn't hearing it or he just did not care. He wasn't trying to give any credence to the things that Hangman was saying. And it seemed as though that was, if I didn't have your attention now, do I have it? Do I have it now? I wasn't getting your attention before, but do I have it now? And just like you said, just him just sitting there in that chair and the whole house just in flames behind him. Looked like an album cover. It looked like the cover of a movie. It looked like a picture that you have to get framed. Like, so if you ever meet Hangman, you have to get that picture autographed by him. It's just one of those moments, one of those pictures that is going to be remembered in the wrestling world. So, uh, if you would have asked me last year if I was on Hangman's side, I would have told you no. I would have told you
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not. And it stemmed a lot from CM Punk, but this is not about him. But now, a year later, which things have changed within a year, and within all this time, I see a different side of Hangman. I see him as a man who is ferociously protective of his family, and he he has vengeance in his heart, and can't fault him for that. I think we all have experienced that at some point or another. So um, ah, that's just a wild story. It's a wild story.
So I feel the same way. Swerve is probably like one of my favorite wrestlers on AEW personally, right? And in Notion, I always wanted to see him have success and want to see him win. But
Right.
if you're talking about like let me be in the wrestler's shoes, I agree with you. I don't think Hangman Adam Page is a heel at all. I think he's a
No.
babyface. I have a pregnant wife. If somebody was stalking, like, I would probably retaliate in the same, mindset as him. Like, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, he's Swerve is doing dastardly devious things that is
Yeah.
affecting like his family, and I think his every action has a reaction. That's the reaction. He got to get one up on him, and man, like I said, the match is happening tonight, but everyone's gonna watch this post that, and I'm
Yes.
just so excited to see what is gonna happen because I think these guys have been. There's just so much animosity and like personal vendetta within the storyline. I'm just so excited to see how they gonna just beat the living out of
The
each
hell
other.
out of each other. Exactly. I mean, uh, honestly, I don't know if there's any other match. Well, I'm lying because I'm really looking forward to the Brian Danielson and the Jack Perry match, only
Hmm.
because I feel like there is going to be something that stems from that match.
Yeah.
So I feel like, oh, the side note, but as much as that match feels is kind of like put together, I
Hmm.
think it's put together for a reason. These two men, they represent two different entities,
Right.
Team Elite, Team AEW. And I feel like the only reason why that this match was put together was because, something is stemming from that. But outside of that, um, I think this is like really the only match that I know I'm a be seated for
Yeah.
because like my mom, she watched the Texas Death Match. The drinking of the blood, it was just too much for her. She got like all lightheaded. She couldn't handle it. I'm like, Ma, this is wrestling, and she was like,
No, it's
no,
not. My wife react. She's like, I can't watch this AW stuff because that like stuff like that is just
yeah,
the blood and the drinking of blood. And you're right, the Texas Death Match. I said that dog collar match. My bad. It is one of those things where like yeah they're gonna. I feel like they're gonna try to one up that. Like I don't know
yeah,
what they're gonna do,
I don't know.
but these two gentlemen have a crazy. They're joint by the hip. They're wrestling soulmates in a way where like it's masterful. Their legacies when they retire are going to always be tied to each other with the storyline that they're telling. So kudos to them.
Absolutely, yes,
Um, yeah, and great stuff. Hopefully, All Out is going to be fun. Let's get to the next topic because man, we're talking about one of my favorite wrestlers in
Giulia.
professional wrestling. I got to cover her last week, two times obviously on off the air and post show, as well as you know you were able to talk about her as well. And I
Yeah,
I, I kind of want to hear what you got to say in regards to the debut of Giulia from both shows,
yes,
especially because there's a discourse if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah. See, apparently, everyone was excited for Julia's debut. We've been hearing it for months. Julia, Stephanie, Delta, like these women, these strong, powerful, talented women was coming to WWE, they was coming to NXT and shake up the world. So we finally got Julia. And as Shad will remember, I was a part of the off the air after No Mercy this past weekend, and I think we all agreed that Roxanne and Jada's match probably should have been the main event, um, since that is when Julia first debuted. And excuse me, and then this past Tuesday when she confronted Roxanne and Chelsea Green. Um, there's there is such an interesting concept within IWC because if you don't do something specifically the way that they envision in their mind to be in, then you have failed. And I wasn't really familiar with what was being said until I had to look it up. And apparently, people were complaining about the way Giulia did her move on Chelsea Green, to the point that WWE had to release additional angles of the move so that you could see like it wasn't a botch move. Um, the thing about the fans, and this is not just about Giulia, this is about um, all wrestlers, but mainly specifically the women wrestlers. I think you hold way too much freedom and having criticism towards these women. They are trained athletes. They work their behinds off to being in these positions. They are immensely talented and they don't need Twitter fingers online criticizing what they can and cannot do or how they may or may not have botched a move. I wasn't familiar with Julia prior to, you know, the rumors coming out that she was coming to WWE. I've said this 1,001 times. This is 1,002 times. I was not familiar with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom. I think it's IPGW or IGPW, um, or even CMLL. I was not still learning the different wrestlers, their techniques, different promotions outside of the major US promotions. But I have seen her matches and I've seen what people have said about her, and I can trust that if there's anybody in that ring who can handle themselves and not botch a move, it will be her. So, um, just as a word of advice to those who feel the need to overly critique these wrestlers, don't, don't. If you cannot go around with these wrestlers, don't criticize them. If you cannot compete with these wrestlers, whether it's wrestling, whether it's track and field, whether it's some other, method of fighting techniques, don't. Trust the process. But like I said, when WWE released the other angle, you could see that she didn't botch the move at all. So, uh, Shad, I don't know. These people are crazy.
You
They
know
not.
what? You know what the issue is though, and it's a big reason for what you said. I think there are just people online that want that are very much anti WWE, where they're just mad that she went there, and they're gonna try to create a narrative to make it seem like they're gonna basically neuter her and not make her be who she
Right.
was in. Right. So here's the thing: is she going to be the same wrestler in the WWE, stylistically in ring and whatnot? No. And that's not a problem though. Like, that's the art of professional wrestling. WWE does have a different way of how they do in ring stuff, but they are also signing the talent for who she is as the talent. And I don't think
Right.
they're gonna just make her be something completely different. You covet someone like her because you see how much of a star she is out in stardom. Obviously, Marigold now with her relationship with Rossi, but yeah, she's a hard hitting striker, but and she may have to tone it down a little bit just because you don't want to hurt people or whatever it may be. The
Right.
Joshi style in Japan is physical as hell. They really be beating the heck out of each other, right?
Right.
Hey, but we haven't had the same complaints in regards to someone like Asuka, who is in a similar style as a striker, working that strong style. Shinsuke Nakamura,
Right.
same situation, right? It's just I don't get why people are up in arms. Like I understand you're gonna miss what she does over there. That's fine, but like that's her choice. She wanted to make the jump to the States, and that's a dream of hers to work in the WWE. As a lot of professional wrestlers, we all grew up watching WWE. From no matter where you are, it's a global
Right.
phenomenon at the end of the day, and I the whole thing about the V trigger, the move that Kenny Omega does, and she kind of has her own variation of it that she did on Chelsea Green. Yeah, it was the camera angle that made it seem like it didn't. But if you do the same thing, it's the same exact type of camera. Like it's the same force and everything that you see in AEW when Kenny does it to people, right? Like or when the Bucks do the BTE trigger or EVP trigger or
Mhm.
whatnot. Like everyone is doing that. And the grossest thing that I saw this past week is that everyone likes to do the compare and contrast with, especially towards women's wrestlers.
All
Um,
the time.
because everyone's like, because Mariah May wrestled Nyla, and Mariah May and Giulia had a banger match. Also, if anybody wants to watch it, but Mariah May wrestles a similar style because she came up at Stardom as well, and she hit a similar, V trigger type of move on Nyla, and everyone's like, yeah, that's that's real women's wrestling, unlike WWE and NXT. Or like that's how you really hit the V trigger move. And I'm just like, Mariah May probably would say, "Shut the heck up," because
Absolutely.
that's a friend of hers, and I don't think she wants y'all to bash and
Put them
disrespect
two
her.
against each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like with Kyrie Sane. Kyrie Sane had a really scary accident on Raw this past week.
Hmm.
Um, that if it wasn't for, which I don't even know if people would even give her credit, but if you watch the video in very slow motion, you will see that Bianca actually restrained
Hmm.
her from getting hurt even worse than she could
Yeah.
have.
She
Yeah,
put her
she
arm
had
out
gotten a
where it kind of pushed her out the way a little
and
bit. Yeah.
kind of pulled her down because I mean these things happen, miscalculations.
Hmm.
Kyrie jumped a little too far out, and but when you're, you know, we can sit in the audience of 13, 14, 15, 30, 35, 50,000 people, and we can already get the excitement of what it's like to sit in the audience and watch them. I don't
Right.
think we will ever experience, because it's a totally different experience than from a wrestler in a ring watching, having those same 13, 45, 50, 60,000 people watching
Hmm.
them all at once. And on top of that, you're thinking of the people backstage that's watching. And on top of that, you're thinking of the millions of people who's watching it on TV.
Yep.
We will never know what that is like unless we put ourselves in that situation. And it's just easy to get online and just be and moan about what you feel these wrestlers are supposed to be doing. And to ride off real quickly on what you said, yeah, there is going to be a case of adaptability with her now wrestling the women of WWE. It would be the same thing if Bianca or Charlotte, or not so much Chelsea, because Chelsea is very well
Yeah,
versed.
she's wrestled in
But
different
you
places.
know,
But like, yeah,
a
someone in
Jade,
the top tier that went to a
yeah,
different promotion from
who
WWE.
would, yeah, or who would like go to Japan, and then they would learn, like,
Hmm.
oh, like they don't pull back their hits, like they're hitting with full force. It would be
Yeah,
even more of a level of adapting. So
sure.
it's just, like I said, just refrain from just being so judgmental. They won't be able to. So um it's,
Fortunately,
my mentality is, just say it to their face. Say it to
hmm
their face. Say it to their face.
because
You know.
yeah, no, I agree, and I mean, you know, BS aside from the fans that are hating, we can't deny that she looks phenomenal. She just looks like
Absolutely.
a absolute star in like from when she came out with the smoke from
Yeah.
at No Mercy, and even coming in this past week, and the face off, just her and Roxanne glaring at each other. Like I can't stress, she is a absolute can't miss prospect as a professional wrestler. She's really,
Mhm.
really talented, and I think she is in the right place. I think this is gonna be something very special. Like I have a load of confidence that she's gonna hit new heights as a professional wrestler in WWE, and
Yes,
I'm excited. And I'm rooting for her, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
we are.
Ah, man. So let's get to the next topic. And this is not in the world of WWE or AEW. This is Black Label Pro Wrestling, which is an independent promotion. They worked with Mojo Rawley. Y'all remember him back in the WWE. And Chris Van Fleet, who's a very, very great wrestling media person,
Yes.
incredible interviewer. He had it all on his YouTube channel. If y'all ain't watch it, go ahead and peep it. They had a combine. I'm a sports fan, so I love combines. I literally watched the NFL combine, seeing athletes just run 40-yard dashes and this, that, and the third. But they had a combine with a lot of TNA and independent professional wrestlers this past week, and it was really entertaining. I thought it was a good way to kind of get you, you know, acclimated with people that are really talented and you remember hearing of them, but you're just like, oh, I forgot how good they are. They had rope tests, they had arm wrestling contests, they had, pulling the tire and whatnot. They had measurables, and it was really, really entertaining. I would highly recommend people to go ahead and watch it. What comes of interest with me is that some of the people that were in it, you saw Jordan Grace. We know how much of a beast, strong, just talent, thick mama pump is what she calls herself is. You got Moose, one of the former NFL player, renowned TNA talent. He got to showcase his athleticism. You got Riddick Moss. I forgot. I apologize. Something Raleigh. I forget his what his name is off the top of my head. But Madcap Moss, formerly in the WWE, you got to, Rawls. You got to see him go there and showcase his talent. Zia Lee, like I want to open it up in the standpoint where we look at these people in the combine. You we just saw a vignette on TNA with Zia Lee possibly being in the knockouts division, but last but not least, we got to see Mandy Rose,
Yes, I
and
heard.
that's kind of where I'm a little intrigued about because I had an idea. I thought so Mandy Rose obviously was let go by WWE, and we haven't seen her back in the pro wrestling space. It's the first time we've seen her back into the pro wrestling space since being let go, and obviously she's making a boatload of money. Doing her exclusive content, doing her podcast, all of that. She might not even need to touch a wrestling ring, but she did tease the idea that she does get the itch. Where would you like to see Mandy Rose potentially go? Her
Um,
being a coveted free agent, obviously we got a new regime back in WWE, we got
yeah.
AEW, we got the knockouts. Uh, Cause that was the person that really was like, oh snap, I forgot. Like Mandy still looked like she looked like she's in really good shape too. Like she was hitting those ropes better than she made back in the WWE.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to see her come back to the WWE. You know, there's always just this fear within me personally that I feel as though if if someone goes to the opposing company and they're not seen on the same level as they were in the WWE, um, they'll get lost in the sauce. They'll just get tossed around until they become null and void. And I just I just don't want to see her go anywhere else, honestly, but to the WWE. But if she does chooses to go to TNA, in my mind, I feel as though that would be one step to her coming back because, for those that know the reason why she was let go, it was a BS reason, honestly. It really was. It was a real BS reason in comparison to other things that people have been accused of or um, allegedly accused of, and those that have actually done the things that they have been accused of. I thought it was very minor because no one was hurt, no one was injured, no one was in danger. She just had a side hustle, and I like I said, I wasn't very familiar with this combine until you had mentioned it. But when I went to go and see exactly who was a part of it, um, I was I was more than satisfied with something like this. And I'm guessing this is like the first one, right? This is the first one of its kind.
Yeah, this is the first one that they've done in regards to it, and I I don't I think it has a stance of like just trying to get a little bit of a limelight to these talents, right?
Okay.
It's a good way to showcase a lot of good up and coming talent, some independent talent, um, and they like Mandy is a big one that was surprising me because I didn't really think she needs to really showcase anything. She's kind of one of those people that have been been in the industry for a while. She was
Right.
a long renowned NXT Women's Champion. She's been on the main roster, has had success on the main roster within stuff. And it with her situation, I feel bad because I really think she was hitting a stride as a professional wrestler
Hmm.
character, but also in ring once she got let go.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, damn, you just I'm balling out, and then it's just completely done. I got released, and I can understand where she's coming from. Obviously, financially, she's doing good, like we mentioned, right? She has her side hustle has become her main hustle. She's
Hmm.
noted that, but I can also feel someone feeling a little jaded because you've been to WWE for your whole time as a pro wrestler. Like she
Right.
grew as a wrestler. She wasn't a wrestler prior to that, and that's kind of all you know. I would like to see her go back there. I would also like to see her maybe even bet on herself and go to a smaller promotion. I think
Yeah.
a lot of the talent on that combine, a TNA talent, I've been on record. I think the Knockouts division was always been one of the best women's divisions in pro wrestling, but it's took a back seat to NXT, to AEW,
Hmm.
and I think they are desperately in need of some talent. Xia Lee going there potentially. I'm assuming that's her in the vignettes. That's a great one. I think Mandy would be a big fish to get. You
Absolutely.
got familiarity with Ash by Elegance, formerly known
Yes.
as Damian Brooke there too.
Yeah. What you call her? Call her what you call her.
Trash by negligence.
Mm, mm.
Why you this old stuff? Come on. We passed that.
I'm just saying.
We
But I mean, when I think of it, I think, and like I said, this is just the way my brain works. But I don't feel like a lot of these wrestlers was fired or let go simply because they just wanted to fire them. And in my mind, I do feel like a lot of them was let go because maybe there was stagnant energy around them.
yeah.
Maybe they couldn't fit them in a storyline that they felt would, make them stand out. And maybe in hindsight, they're thinking, hey, look, if we, like you're teaching a child how to swim, if we throw you in a pool and you manage to stay afloat, then we know that it wasn't you, it was us.
Right. A
We
good
we
point.
dropped the ball, and now we want you back. And I feel like when it comes down to Xylee, when it comes down to Madcap, which also congratulations because him and Emma is expecting a baby.
I know it's so
I
dope to
thought that
see.
was sweet. Um, I think if they can put themselves in a position to where they show that look, I rebuilt myself on my own without the backing of WWE, they will look at them like, okay, that was all, that's our bad.
Hmm.
We want you back. And but the thing about it is that wasn't the issue with Mandy.
No, I wasn't.
She was let go over something entirely different. So I don't think
Yeah,
she would have to put herself in that type of situation to prove herself. I mean, she,
right.
like you said, she looks good. She looks incredible.
You,
So
she's like leaned up a lot. Like she's looked a lot more like agile. Obviously, she lost to Jordan Grace in the arm wrestling contest, but I think
wow.
Jordan Grace could probably beat everyone in the arm wrestling
Yeah,
contest.
yeah, ain't nobody
But
beating Doris.
yeah, like it was. I think that's what strike interested me. I was like, yo, she's still been training a little bit. Like it ain't like
Yeah,
a lot of times like you get out of a space, you're just like, all right, whatever. Like I'm just gonna be doing me. I don't need to be in wrestling shape anymore. I could be in regular healthy shape to live my. But she look like she's in like I can wrestle if you needed me to wrestle,
yeah,
type of shape. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But not salute to Black Label Pro, man. I think
yes,
it was a fun thing, and I'm excited to see if they keep doing these. I would like to, you know, like even if they open it in a way, like I think they might have cards and stuff like that. It'll be cool. So big ups to them. All right,
that'd be cool.
this is the last topic at hand, and this is a spotlight that you and I kind of even talked about before we got on the show for another show. There is a very, very talented professional wrestler in AEW. And before we start off for it, we gotta acknowledge that she is a woman that is a pioneer in AEW. She
Yeah.
is the first lady of AEW, like you were the first lady of Wrestling Republic.
Yes.
Um,
Hey, girl. I'm
but
here.
it seems a little weird where we are with her because the booking has not mirrored that talent. So
Yeah.
Britt Baker's booking is our last spotlight topic. I'm gonna kick it off for you. Break it down for us real quick.
Well, one thing that I think we all have noticed as AEW fans is that there has been uh it's such a loud silence about her match against Mercedes at All In. There has been no highlights of it. We have not seen her. Now, yes, of course, it's been about what? It's been about 2 weeks. Well, we saw her last Sunday, the Sunday before last. Um, but we haven't seen her since then. And even if she, let's say, they write in the storyline that she was injured and and she's taking time off, they still haven't even made mention of the match. They just hurried up and brushed past it and went on to Mercedes' next title defense. And I don't know what is going on with Britt Baker. We were so excited to have her back. I was excited to have her back. I love the promos, the back and forth between her and Mercedes. They had a match. The match was highly criticized, more so on Britt's part than Mercedes' part. Um, Again, non-athlete, non-wrestling fans um, telling a wrestler that she can't wrestle or can't wrestle well. And Mercedes, she had her celebration that following Wednesday. Did not see Britt, did not hear Britt. This past Wednesday came, Mercedes came out. She's having an issue with, she has a title defense tonight against Sheeta. Again, no Britt, and it's weird. It's a very weird thing. So, um, like what is going on with Britt? Is she injured? Is she taking time off? Um, Hopefully she's not, dealing with any ailments again. But from our perspective, it's looking like booking, of course, with the issues between her and MJF and Alicia allegedly happening behind backstage of the 250th Dynamite episode, which was a couple of a month or some change ago. Um, is it still stemming from that? Like, what is going on with the DMD? This is what I want to know. Where are you, Britt? Where are
I
you, girl?
I'm fascinated by it as well because I think you said it very well in the standpoint of like it feels like this was just a quick one-off feud and that was it. And in situations, this is a very common thing AEW does. I've seen it happen with Nyla Rose a lot. I see it happen with Rio a lot. A lot of the women that have ushered in the women's division of AEW, it has been a thing like that. But Britt to me is very different because Britt is a megastar that is a homegrown talent in AEW. Like I said, she's the first lady, the first woman that was signed onto the roster, and they have treated her like she is a big deal. And, respectfully saying, she is a big deal. She is a big time star that they had. She is one of the pillars. She's more of a pillar than a Sammy Guevara, in my opinion. She's more of a pillar almost to like a Jack Perry, in my opinion, right? Like she should be in the same convo as a MJF, as a Darby Allin, as one of these young people that
Absolutely.
they built up. And you don't treat your top tier people like that. Like, you know,
No.
like, I hate doing comparing and contrast to the companies, but you look at the WWE, Becky is not just, if she's off, she's off, right? But if
Right.
she's in the fold and she's active, they got her doing something. Whether it's in the main title picture, whether it's just a one-off feud with somebody, whether it's in the tag team division. Bianca Belair is another example, right? She's not in the title picture at the moment. They're letting her do the tag team stuff and help, build and
Hmm.
bond with Jade in the situation. And
Right.
I see in the parallel, I see Britt Baker like a Bianca or Becky to AEW's women's division. But like, is it because when there's smoke, there's fire? I don't know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not in the locker rooms to see what's going on. We can only speculate, but
Right.
it's not wise in my opinion, right? I don't think, and this is kind of the other issue I have in regards to how women's wrestling within timing is booked because Britt Baker can feud with somebody. You got
Hmm.
enough new women on the roster that we haven't seen her feud with. There's history with her and Deonna Purrazzo. You could have them feud. There's, I don't know if they would want to do it, but there's the Thunder Rosa and her have probably had one of the best women's feuds in history in AEW. Could
Yeah.
revisit that. Mariah May, that would be incredible. Mariah May doesn't
Hilarious.
even have a match right now going in
No.
tomorrow, right? And obviously, tonight, obviously, something may happen. What we're talking about may be silence about what goes on, but it does feel weird because even with the build up for Mercedes and Britt, that has been a dream match to people
It
if we can
was.
ever have a forbidden door when it was Sasha Banks in WWE. And I really thought we would give that feud like its due diligence of a good build. The match, I will have to say I wasn't a big fan of the match, but a
Right.
lot of that is also because I don't like the build to the match. And say what you want to say about Britt as a pro wrestler, Britt is a character, is chef's kiss.
She
Very
is.
good. Very
She
good.
is. She is so good on the microphone. Oh my gosh. She hurts my feelings a lot of the times
Oh my
because it's
god.
like she's so quick on her feet with
Mm-hmm.
it. But no, something is happening behind the scenes. Somebody is dropping the ball. There is probably some issues that is going on behind the scenes that hasn't been made public. But for her to be gone for 2 weeks, it seems off,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. And like you said,
Like,
just the build,
we missed her not being there, and when she came back, we were so hype about it.
yeah. And even like you said, even the build to that match. I mean, let's just let's just call it for what it is. WWE have spoiled us. They have spoiled us with storylines and
Mm-hmm.
you know feeding in feuds and making it personal and whether it's about love, sex, whatever the case may be, um, family. It's all a part of making it relatable. And from from my perspective, it seemed like Britt was making it relatable because Britt was playing on to the things that are said online about Mercedes, people who worked with her and what they have said about her being difficult to work with. And
Yeah.
that kind of drew in what people might consider wrestling as the fantasy, the
Mm-hmm.
reality was dragging into it, and they should have continued on feeding onto that. She didn't win the first match. Fine. She should be somewhere in the bushes. She should be taking out Camille from behind.
Lurking,
She
yeah.
should be somewhere like she should be unhinged like Hangman was. Like she should
Yeah.
not be
I mean,
over
even having a
this.
program with her and Camille would be interesting. Like Camille
Something.
is a wrestler herself. Like she's a big pickup for him as well. Like I think like people forget about that too. Camille's just not some heavy. Camille
No.
is one of the longest reign NWA Women Champion, the longest reign NWA Women's Champion. Let me correct that. In the history of as long as that promotion has been in the existence of pro wrestling, like so that isn't some just tall woman. That is a woman who's got some stain on her resume in pro wrestling,
Right.
and it's like, and it's always gonna be me. I feel like beating a dead horse because I feel like the utilization for women's wrestling and American promotions a lot is like, well, like stuff could be so easy. Like booking a you over complex booking sometimes. Like if I'm a promoter, I don't care who you are, man or woman. I want you on my show if you're the best on my roster. And
Right.
Britt is one of the better, like, if not best people on the roster when it comes to TV. And we talk about my least favorite wrestler on MJF, who's a lot of people's favorite wrestler,
Right.
MJF. Right? I like the character. I like him a lot. He's a great heel. Not I ain't gonna get in convo about him outside of wrestling and whatnot,
Right.
but you know, it is a parallel to both of them. She's like the women's version of him. When you talk about it, like she's got that, like you were saying, quick witted, really can really dig deep into personal stuff. And I don't know what it is. Like I said, if it's a situation where she may be considered a person that's difficult to work with, what happened to the last person that had that same mantra? You let him go, and look what he's doing
Yeah.
now. I we gotta really, you gotta be fair within it. There's ways to make stuff work. So I really hope they do. Now I hope we get to see Britt on our TV screen again.
I
So
hope so.
all right, so we are coming towards the last inning, and then so it's the highlights of the week. We gave y'all a lot just to even talk about. So
Yes.
to even come with a highlight, this is gonna be fun. Um, I you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. My highlight of the week is
Wrong
my bad.
person.
I apologize because you're on that part of it. My highlight of the week is something that I've already spoke about. That's already on the Instagram reel. I love friendship. Friendship is the greatest thing that you can have, and I love seeing people come back together. My highlight of the week, my highlight of the year, my highlight of the century, my highlight of the decade is Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria reuniting. Man, that really made my heart warm up. It was something that I was losing sleep over, Megan. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was going hours without sleeping. Um,
Oh God.
just not knowing. Like, we never got a payoff to this because they moved Lyra to the main roster. And I remember I was literally sitting on a cruise ship post Mania where Lyra lost, happy because I felt like she got what she deserves because she was not embracing the friendship, and I'm just glad that Lyra has come back around and understood that Tatum Paxley is the bestest of best friends that you could have in this
Yes.
in the world. So my highlight of the week has to be that. I'm going to recycle that this week from what I said on Tuesday. So
Mm.
we, we,
Yeah,
we,
I mean, Lyra looked Lyra looked like she was happy to see Tatum. Tatum has been making friends, literally.
yes.
Um, just trying to have that same relationship with Kalani and with Lola and Wendy. I guess at some point she was trying, but Wendy had turned on her. Um, but she got her best friend back. She got her best friend, and Lyra just been putting her cape on. She all week she was just helping people. She helped Zelina.
Yeah.
She came to Tatum's defense. I just need her to run on SmackDown real quick. I mean, she could have. Who needed help? Nobody. Mia, maybe Mia. But like she's you know, if you're happy that they reunited, I'm happy that they reunited.
That's all I can ask for. But yeah, it was definitely a very feel good moment. What you
Yeah.
got? What is your highlight of the week?
Well, my highlight is not a feel good moment, but I think it's I'm a spiritual person. I believe in, doing shadowing work. I believe in, facing your demons head on. Accountability is very important. And so my highlight is going to be the new Vince McMahon documentary that Netflix had the trailer that Netflix had dropped this week. I know there's going to be a lot of heavy topics that's going to be brought up in that documentary, from Vince buying a company from his father, his TV roles. Um, from what I read, they will be talking about Chris Benoit, and of course, the reason why Vince is no longer running WWE. So it's going to be a lot of heavy um, topics spoken about during that documentary, and it's going to be a lot of things that we probably did not know, things that we're not ready to hear. But in order for um, WWE to kind of to get in front of it and deal with that and get past it in some way, shape, or form, this has to come out. And I'm gonna be tuned in. Um, I've been watching wrestling since I I want to say 9, 10 years old. So this is like 96, 97. Um, and I know a lot of the things that will come out is probably going to affect those that have been watching it since then a little differently than it would for those who just got into it, um, or those who spent a long time from not watching it. So uh just for those who chooses to watch it and they are sensitive about certain topics, you know, all I can say is just take care of yourself. Don't force yourself to watch it if you know that this is going to be a trigger for you, or if it's going to affect you in in a sense that might put you in a bad space mentally. Just skip it. You don't have to watch it, and I wouldn't advise those to watch it. But uh, I I just I know it's gonna be heavy. That's really all I can say. I know it's gonna be a very heavy thing.
Yeah, the and of course, most importantly, like trigger warning for people to watch it is gonna cover a lot of stuff that has happened in the history books of professional wrestling,
Yeah.
the brightest of brights and the dimmest of dim moments, and that's gonna be fascinating. I the trailer looked super like informative with a lot that's going on. I'm super excited to watch it. Not off of the sure of entertainment, but just off of more so being inquisitive and like just like you, right? Watching pro wrestling since I at a young age, since
Yeah.
I was like 7 8 years old myself. Into the attitude era, into the ruthless aggression era, and
Right.
Vince has been here. He is WWE,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, and to see everything that has gone with him is going to be fascinating. So, yeah, I mean, you definitely probably had the highlight of the week in pro wrestling this week in regards
uh,
to like what got people talking.
yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, that. I mean, it's going to open our eyes to a lot of things. We probably be looking at different storylines differently. We probably would
yeah,
different rumors and stuff that we heard in
mm-hmm,
the past is probably going to be, it's going to be triggered by this.
yeah,
I watched The Vice. I know we're running out of time, but real quick, I watched The
go ahead.
Vice documentary. I think it was like the 9 lives of Vince McMahon. That was very informative. That I feel was also the catalyst of what has happened
Mm-hmm,
to him. So I can only imagine. They already compared the two, and they said this Netflix one is way more deep dive. So
yeah,
I know what I've learned from that one, which already made me look at him as a dirty old man. And
right.
now I just know this one is going to
Make
just
him probably
it's
see him as the
gonna wake up
devil.
it's
Probably
gonna
see him
wake
as
up
the
a
devil.
lot of things. It's probably gonna bring a lot of people out from everywhere. I think there's gonna be more women that's gonna come out.
Yeah,
The comfort of feeling like they weren't in this by themselves, and they might wanna, like
sure.
tell their story. So yeah, I think this is gonna open up a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, no,
So
I totally agree. It's going to wake up a lot of things, and it's going to be interesting. So we'll have to wait and
yeah,
see. But yeah, like you said, that is all the time we have today. Man, appreciate everyone watching the show today. Next week we'll be back with a bigger panel, right? But
yeah,
it was a lot of fun getting to do these three shows with you, Megan. Hopefully, I
it
didn't
was.
annoy you uh, to be like, I don't want to do a show with him no
Oh
more.
no, I told you you can't get rid of me. I ain't going nowhere. You stuck with me.
Ah man, well, vice versa. I'm on every single show nowadays. Everybody, the fans probably sick of me, but that's all the time we have. Thank y'all. We will be back next week, and we might have an interview for y'all coming up soon. So keep rocking with us, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.